In this video, we're going to show you how to install the header panel on your Ford Mustang located behind the front bumper. And once you have your hood open, on the top side here, you're going to find these two locking pins. We're going to use a trim tool here. I'm going to get underneath and just gently work those slider clips up. Now at this point here, we're going to pull our headlight forward. On the turn signal area here, or the marker light, there's going to be two metal pins that go into the fender. So we want to gently go ahead and pull this out, dislodging the pins from the fender area. Now we want to separate the harness from the light bulbs on the back side. On our side marker light, you want to go ahead and separate the connector there. There's a little tab on the top and the bottom side. I'm going to use a small pick and get into that little tab and put a little bit of pressure on that harness. And you can see the upper tab have a little gap on it. Once you open up that tab and go on the bottom side and release the bottom one, and pop this out. Now those tabs are these right here that you're gently going to get behind. You don't want to break these off, so just use a small pick and gently apply some upward pressure to dislodge that. On our headlight bulb, the connector has two little tabs on the top. Once again, use your pick. You can use some upward pressure, releasing those tabs, and pop the connector out of the back. At this point here, you can separate the entire headlight from the vehicle. We're going to remove this upper cover. There are 4 retaining buttons holding it in place. It's one here, one on top of the grille, or on the driver's side of the grille, and another one up top. We're going to use our Phillips head screwdriver in the center and go ahead and start to unscrew these here. Sometimes you'll need a trim tool to give that button assistance to come up and out. And we're just going to go pop this little guy out. Here we go. I'm going to pop out the center and use your trim tool to remove the bottom half. I'm going to save that so we can reinstall that after, and do the same for the other 3. Pull it off and set it aside. Across the top of the bumper cover and the grille is another 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And do the same process as we did for that upper cover there. And be careful not to damage your paint. On the bottom side of the bumper, there should be a plastic button or retainer on this side here as well as the driver's side. Ours is missing. So if yours are missing, you want to go ahead and source out some replacements. If not, use a trim tool, pop those little plastic buttons out and set those aside. Now in the inside fender area, right in front of your front tires, you're going to find a Phillips head screw. We're going to use a stubby screwdriver, pop that in there. You want to go ahead, loosen and remove these. In our particular case, the inner fender liner is moving inward. There was a tear in our bumper, so it was giving us a hard time to remove this. But there is our screw. You got to remove that screw. We're going to do the same for the driver's side. Now we're going to use our trim tool, and we're going to pull out on our bumper, and we're going to pull this out. Now there are going to be two bolts. They are horizontally positioned. There's one about right here and one about 6 inches in. We're going to use our 7/16 deep socket with our 1/4 inch ratchet. We're going to go in and going to remove the two nuts. There's one of the nuts there. That was the closest one here. We're going to reach in a little bit further and get to that second one. And there's our second bolt or nut. We're going to do this for the driver's side. On the passenger side, we have those two studs that went through. We need to pull the bumper cover out and away. Work your way across the front and then do the same for the driver's side. Grab that bumper cover and remove that. Using an 8mm socket, we're going to loosen and remove these two screws here. On the inboard side, there's going to be two more 8mm screws here. Once we get these out, we're going to go ahead and repeat this process for the driver's side. Go ahead and slide the header panel forward. Remove your light wiring harnesses from the unit. We now want to go ahead and remove the grill insert right here. There are two plastic push pins on the bottom edge, one on the right side, one on the left side. And what we'll try and do is tap on the back side plastic retainers, push those buttons through, and then we'll finish pulling it out through the front. Go ahead and take your header panel, set that aside. Now on either side of the header panel is going to be two of these plastic retainers. We want to swap these over to the new header panel. So you can use any tool you want. Sometimes it's just a small screwdriver. Compress those 3 prongs here. This is what you're going to get out. And just swap that over into the new header panel. Push that in. And repeat for the other side here. And then on the driver's side, you'll have 2 as well. Install the grill backing here. Line up your plastic push pin. Push that in. Do the same on the other side. I want to go ahead and bring the header panel back. And we're going to feed our wiring harness through the header panel. Now the header panel has a plastic pin on it. It's pretty much a line-up pin and it goes right into the fender. Once you have that lined up, we're going to install one screw loosely or one of the bolts loosely. Let's go ahead and go to the other side. Do the same over here with your wiring. Bring the header panel back, push that into the fender. We're going to go ahead and install our 2 bolts here. Go ahead and snug these 2 down. We're going to install the 2 on the inside here. Now I'm not going to tighten these down yet. I want to install the rest of the bolts on the other side. Make sure this is pushed back all the way, and then we'll come back and tighten everything down. Before we tighten down our 4 inboard bolts, I want to make sure that this header panel is pushed back as far as possible, and then we'll snug those down. I'm going to tighten down our outboard fender bolts. Do the same for the passenger side. Now that we have our header panel installed, go ahead and install your bumper and your headlights. Now when installing your bumper, you do have the 2 metal studs on each side. It's best to do this job with an extra person, where each person can be on either side. You don't want to scratch up your fender with those studs, but you can carefully line this up. You want to bring your tabs on the bumper on top here. Grab the bumper, kind of slide this over, and then line up the bumper on the other side. Make sure that your grill and everything fits into place here. Now this is key information when installing your bumper. There's going to be a tab right here that needs to set on top of the header panel. These 3 fit on top of the header panel, but underneath the headlight bucket. So these 3 fit inside, and then the bumper cover fits on top as well as the grill. Here's a little tip to go ahead and hold this bumper in place while we install the 4 nuts on either side of our bumper and the fender wells. Install 2 of the plastic push pins on the top of our bumper cover here. And with these 2 in place, let's go ahead and install the nuts inside the wheel wells. Let's go ahead and install the nuts over here. Make sure that that's snug. With both of those tight, we can go ahead and install our fender trim here. Now for ease of installation, you can always turn the key to the on position, allowing a little bit more room here to install the screw. Okay, go ahead and snug down that screw. And let's go ahead and repeat the 2 nuts and the screw on the driver's side. Line up the bottom. Repeat for the other side. Install the upper trim here. And we'll just go ahead and secure all these down into place. Now that we have all of our plastic trim buttons in place, let's now go ahead and install our headlights. Let's go ahead and line this up and install our bulb connectors. Take the harness for the upper light, line that up with the bulb, and press it in. You're going to hear and feel it snap into place. And then grab your corner harness here. Just line that up with the bulb and press it in. Now installing this here, there are 2 pins that go into the fender area or the header panel. So we'll go ahead and slide this back into place and line up those pins. Once you have those pins lined up, we're going to push evenly on the headlamp straight back. And those will pop into place. And on the back side of the headlamp, our locking keys are going to slip into the brackets. You want to make sure that the notch side is facing the inside and that the top of the tab is facing out towards the front of the vehicle. Get that into place. You might have to apply a little bit of inward pressure on that headlamp assembly, and then go ahead and tap these down and in. Go ahead and work those down into place. Once you have that locking tab in place, go ahead and install the other one here. And do the same. At this point here, your headlamp is installed. You want to repeat for the driver's side. Be sure to test your headlights before you hit the road. And at that point there, you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.